It's time to accelerate. Hi, I'm your host, Andy Paul. Join me as I host conversations with the leading experts in sales, marketing, sales automation, sales process, leadership, management, training, coaching, any resource that I believe to help you accelerate the growth of your sales, your business, and most importantly, you.
Hello, and welcome to Accelerate. I'm excited to talk with my guest today. Joining me is Dave Blake, founder and CEO of Client Success. And I got a quote from their website. It's revolutionizing the way companies proactively manage, retain, and grow their existing customer base. You know, the tagline for Dave's company is "Success is the new sales." And in this era of increasing service or subscription-based products and increasing specialization within sales roles, the function of driving revenue from existing accounts has become its own specialty. And this role is labeled customer success, and it's not what's sort of the old-fashioned notion of customer satisfaction or customer service. Instead, it requires a unique set of skills and technologies to ensure the highest levels of customer engagement with and value derived from the product or service you sold them. So it's these skills that retain customers, open the doors for upsells, and minimize churn among subscribers. Now, Dave Blake and his team have developed a new platform called Client Success that is focused on helping customer success teams achieve this mission. He's going to tell us all about client success as well as what customer success is in general and what it means for you. So, Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andy. It's a pleasure to be here today.
So, did I do justice to that in the open?
Yeah, you did a great job. We are in this age of the age of the customer, if you will. Taking care of your existing customer is critical, and we find that those who do it best have successful and thriving businesses. So we're all about helping customers take care of their existing customer base.
Okay, so before we jump into the details, just take a minute and broaden the introduction of you. And how did you come to start this company, and how did you start your career?
Great question. So my career started. I was graduated in accounting, but never done much accounting. I always have been on the technology side, first off in professional services. And then after many years of being on the road as a consultant, stumbled across a company here in Utah called Omniture. Mm-hmm. At the time, Omniture was a small web analytics company that was just starting its path to hyper growth. And I joined Omniture early on as a frontline account manager, or what most people call customer success managers there, and quickly realized that I had lucked out, if you will, and found a great company in a great space, great founders, and just a tremendous opportunity for me. At Omniture, we went hyper growth. We ended up going IPO, and then we were acquired by Adobe. And my journey through that experience was that I was fortunate to build the strategic accounts team at Omniture, taking care of the top companies worldwide, the best brands in the world, every major brand you could think of. And then came through with the acquisition by Adobe and ran the global account management organization, enterprise account management organization for that side of the business for Adobe. So that's how.
What was the impetus to start Client Success then?
Really, because I, in my role as a customer success leader for many years, building and scaling customer success teams, our primary responsibility was to retain and grow our existing customer base, to take care of them. And in fact, our founder, Josh James, always said, made it clear that we didn't ever want to lose a strategic account, and we never did. However, I attribute most of our success to just having great people who had a lot of hustle and a lot of passion for customers. And we never had solutions that were very focused for our team around post-sales customer success management. And so after being at Adobe for many years, I was ready for a new change. And I like to say this opportunity, this company found me. I didn't necessarily go out looking for it, but just my skill set had aligned. There are very few people out there who had experience in this space for over a decade. And I was fortunate being in a position to found the company and really wanted to found it because to start the company because I wanted a solution that I wish we would have had. I wanted to bring that to market and specifically build a solution that for customer success teams that they could use to manage their existing customer base.
Okay, well, let's talk about the practice of customer success sort of in general. So, because I think there's a lot of people still may have heard the term and confuse it, let's say, sort of with customer support and maybe just, if we can lay sort of the ground rules so people really understand. So, what is customer success? I mean, it's not customer service.
Nope. It's very distinct from customer service. The way that I look at customer success is that it is this customer success is understanding your client's needs or your customer's needs and aligning your solutions and your services to fulfill those needs. And when you do that, if you do that successfully, you make your customer successful, then the natural outcome is that you will have long-term retention and growth with your customers. It's building customer advocates and doing all of this in a much more proactive way versus customer service. The traditional customer service is, I would say, is much more transactional, still the same goal of delivering a great experience for your customer, but customer service versus customer success, I would say customer service is much more transactional, somewhat reactive, responsive, versus customer success is much more focused on the long-term relationship and being much more proactive.
So when you look at customer success, sort of the focal point, a lot of companies have now created these positions called customer success managers. As you said, used to be called account managers. I mean, I started sort of my career in one point I started as a program manager, which really was an account manager for doing major account management. So the role of the customer service manager then is really to sort of coordinate all these other resources that exist. I mean, be sort of that customer advocate and provide them the resources they need to be able to, like I said, derive the value out of the service that they purchased.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They are the customer's advocate, if you will, within your organization. And they are to understand the customer's needs and then align the company and the company's resources to help fulfill those needs. I like to call them the central point of contact, not necessarily the single point of contact, but they're the ones who shepherd the customer through your customer journey and ensure they're getting value from your company.
So how is the organization, customer success organization, staffed in general? I mean, what does it look like?
More and more, it first of all, in the last few years, we've seen this emergence of customer success and this kind of the importance and the investment in customer success increased significantly. A typical customer success team will be led, a more, let's say, an established customer success team will report into a VP of customer success, or even a chief customer officer, where you see that in many organizations today, and then have. Oh, go ahead.
Well, does the chief customer officer, does that include sales, or that's parallel to sales?
It just depends. Some have it be separate from sales, so it's very focused on the existing customer base. Some have sales roll up into them. It really just depends. There's a lot of different models that we see out there today.
But oftentimes customers, and this to be clear, because we're going to jump into this in just a second. I mean, customer success carries a revenue quota, but oftentimes they don't report into sales.
That's correct, and that's been the fascinating transition, particularly in B2B SaaS. I remember we host these what we call executive roundtables, where we bring together VPs of customer success in different locations throughout the world, and we have some knowledge sharing and networking. And we were in one in Austin last year. And we had about 6 VPs of customer success, and it was the first time that I saw the change really start to take effect, where the majority of the VPs of customer success around the table announced that they had a bigger quota than their sales counterpart. With retention and expansion quotas, their quotas were bigger, and so you start to see the shift of influence of the customer success team and leadership in an organization where they have much more influence and much more importance within an organization. Whereas traditionally it was the sales leaders who had kind of were the big cheese in the organization, if you will.
So in addition to the customer success manager, we started talking about how those organizations look, how they're staffed. What are the other roles that you typically see?
Certainly, you've got your management layers there, but on the front line, it's a customer success manager. Some organizations, more mature organizations, have customer success operations, and we also see even at the enterprise level, you start to see alignment where there's a new trend where they're even assigning what we call success marketing resources, or where you have marketing team members who are dedicated to customer success to help nurture customers in a more of a low-touch way.
So sort of embedding the account-based marketing concept into customer success.
Yep, where you truly start seeing that with the customer success manager kind of being at the center of that account team, but they collaboratively work together on behalf of the customer. So
what's the typical profile of a customer success manager? Is this somebody who's come from sales and maybe it's more the farmer type as opposed to the hunter type, or not to be? I hate those stereotypes, but just using them in this instance. I mean, so people.
We've certainly seen people with that profile and have done a great job, but it's still, since it is an emerging role, we see customer success managers come from different functional groups, whether it be sales. Some of my best over the years. We had a profile of 3. One was a great farmer who used to work at IBM and some other enterprise. Another one was came from Tommy Hilfiger, if you can imagine that, a senior merchandiser, and another one came from Amazon, who was a product manager. But the common thread with all of them is that they were great relationship professionals. They knew how to nurture and develop a great relationship, and then they also had the ability to link customer needs with solutions, and finally they were able to think strategically and act strategically, and yet be able to roll up their sleeves and act tactically as needed to manage their customers. So those are some common traits that we look at as we hire customer success managers or determine successful ones.
And then who actually carries the quota? Is it a group quota or individual? I mean, a team quota for a specific account, or do the individual customer success managers carry that quota?
Again, we see quite a variety of different ways. The most common, I always share my thoughts on 3 different ways that we see from a retention and growth. One is that you keep the sales rep involved, and they continue to own that post-sales. And they own everything from a sales perspective, and the customer success manager owns the day-to-day relationship from a product and adoption perspective. The other model that we see is that the sales pulls out, and the customer success manager owns all retention and expansion for their book of business. And then the third one is that some organizations introduce a separate customer sales team or renewal specialist team that owns that. And then there's also a little bit of variety of who is it, a team quota or is it individual quota? And I like to have both. Have the accountability at the frontline CSM so that they know they have that clear accountability, but then find ways to also have these team goals around as well across the customer success team.
Well, you brought up a great point earlier, which I think it's worth coming back to. Is you had talked about great people, and even though we're seeing a lot of technology come into the space, is that I've seen in the past, and I know that as this is evolving and emerging, it's going to be less and less the case. But that people, let's say from sales, other places, sort of got shunted off into customer success or customer service type roles. And they weren't always the top quality people. And the fact is, as I always advocate, is you have to have your best people in these roles. This is not a secondary role. This doesn't take, as you said, with the way the quotas are spread out. This isn't playing second banana to sales. This is the lifeblood of the company.
That's right.
And you really need to have your best people there. And technology notwithstanding, you're bringing, and we'll talk about it in the second part of the show, we'll talk about the technology you're bringing to bear, but you still need to have great people doing this. The technology is not going to be a substitute for that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that was always, as a leader and a practitioner, building and scaling teams, that's what the philosophy we took. And so we would hire just exceptional people. And we knew that if we hired the right people, and we like to hire leaders, we like to hire great leaders, meaning it's not a title, it's a natural way in which you execute. It's an influence you have on your team and your customers and everyone around you. And that was very successful, regardless of the tools and environment. If you hire great people and you put them in front of your customers and you do it and you engage with customers in a very authentic way, you'll be successful. So that trend is changing. I think that in the past, they always looked at customer success and even customer support as a cost center. Now the savvy CEOs and executives in SaaS companies or any company out there is starting to look at these individuals as profit centers and hiring the right profile accordingly and taking care of those people accordingly.
Well, and as centers of growth as well. I mean, the fact is that you have to be growing at least as fast as the company itself wants to grow. Otherwise, you're not hitting your targets, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, good. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about customer success and talk about the platform that Dave's company has developed to support that. And we'll be back in just a second.
Hi, this is Andy. Connect and Sell is used by sales reps at nearly 1,000 companies, including hundreds of technology startups and several Fortune 500 companies, to overcome the challenges of getting prospects on the phone. Companies using Connect and Sell grow their revenues faster by enabling their sales reps to have more sales conversations in 90 minutes than they could otherwise achieve in an entire week. Connect and Sell can be deployed directly to your sales reps, or you can take advantage of their outbound on-demand service, which delivers qualified prospect meetings scheduled directly on your sales reps' calendars. Visit connectandsell.com to learn more about how Connect and Sell can start filling your pipeline today.
Welcome back. We're talking with my guest today, Dave Blake from Client Success, and we're talking originally about the bigger, broader topic of customer success. Now I want to delve into the platform that your company has developed to help support that and to help companies do a better job of supporting their customers, getting the upsells, maintaining contracts, and so on. So you call it a relationship platform, Client Success.
Yeah. Yeah, our why, if you think about the why being the most important thing that a company can define, our why is building relationships that last. And that's what our company and our product and our team tries to do. At the core, our solution is helping B2B SaaS companies proactively manage, engage with customers in an authentic way, align with their needs, and drive long-term retention and growth. So that's the high level what we do, and excited about the reception so far.
Yeah, and so for people listening that are just not familiar with this category and so on, so this isn't a CRM system. I mean, you've got specialized features that a CRM system doesn't support necessarily. It's not a customer service ticketing system either, as other people might be familiar with. It's something quite different.
Yeah, that's right. I think if you look at traditional CRMs, the main focus and emphasis in a traditional CRM is driving a sales conversation and a discussion through the close of a deal. But most CRMs don't focus on the most important part, which is now taking care of those customers and understanding the health of a customer, understanding how you're nurturing the relationship and the risk and the opportunities. And so our platform focuses on that. It's how do you engage with customers proactively across the life cycle? What are the indicators of health? What are the indicators of risk? And how can we and how are we doing retaining and expanding our customer base? Okay,
well, let's sort of dive into a little bit. You sort of identified 5 key phases that you help to sort of manage this whole process, starting with onboarding, which is oftentimes overlooked when you get a new customer. It's really, to me, it's sort of the single most important phase. in terms of the setting the foundation for the relationship going forward. So how does the customer success manager, use client success to help onboard a new customer?
Yeah, we believe that the first 90 days in any relationship are the most important 90 days. That will make or break the long-term success of a partnership. And certainly been on both ends of that. The success is
me too.
The success is mostly, but unfortunately, I felt the pains of slipping up on the first 90 days as well, both from as I service our customers, but also as a customer. And so our platform helps to our customers have a clearly defined plan for how they're going to engage with their customers throughout those first 90 days, and have this repeatable, consistent methodology that the team follows through that process. A lot of it, some of the biggest challenges in managing throughout a life cycle are the handoffs. A lot of people fumble those handoffs, and in first 90 days, the most critical handoff is that the first handoff from the sales team or account executive over to the customer success manager. And so our platform helps to facilitate that, as well as all the other proactive activities that you want to do to engage your customers in the right way to leave a great impression in those first 90 days.
So that handoff you talk about from the account manager to the customer success manager, is that a matter of documentation, or how do you facilitate that?
There's not a single bullet. It's a matter of understand internally between the sales rep and the customer success manager. It's a matter of communication and making sure that both through documentation and through just a quick handoff meeting internally, that we clearly understand the discussions that happen in the sales process. Because through that process, you're doing a lot of discovery. You're understanding their key business objectives and their challenges and the key stakeholders. And so the key point of that transition internally is to make sure that all of that information is discussed and relayed to the customer success manager, so that when you have that first kickoff call, the customer feels like they're being cared for, that it's a continuation of the conversation, not starting the conversation again.
Right.
It's nothing more frustrating for a customer to have to repeat everything that they shared with us during the sales process. And so that's a key thing that is important in any handoff. And
then within the application itself and within client success, does the customer success manager set up an onboarding plan then that's shared and co-managed with the client?
Yeah, it's primarily meant to right now to collaborate on their side and to it's for the customer success manager and their team to make sure they're following a proactive plan and communicating that to the customer. So it facilitates collaboration. It facilitates to make sure that you're going through this consistent process, and allows them to refine that process over time, so that they're always learning and evolving their methodology, if you will, their repeatable methodology as they engage with customers.
Well, you give sort of an overall customer health success score, if you will. What are the key metrics, let's say, on the onboarding that sort of drive that early on? I mean, what sort of metrics does the customer success manager have access to that see, okay, we're on track, we're not on track, what do we need to change, so on and so forth?
Yeah, there's I think a lot of it comes down to engagement. I look at engagement as engagement, personal relationship engagement. Is the customer engaging? Do they have the right level of do they feel empowered through our process and comfortable with our process? And are they helping their team feel empowered through the solution? So engagement, are you having regular touch points? And then also, do you start to see this initial adoption and engagement in your solution? That's important. So those are two things. And then I think there's a time element as well. You want to, as quickly as possible, drive value to the customer, have quick time to value, and also have some of those early wow moments for the customer. And so those are the things that we recommend to our customers, and that they can leverage our platform to measure and make sure they're delivering that in a timely manner.
Right. I think that's a great point about the early wow moments is within those first 90 days, because they really can set the tone for the entire relationship. And you talked about the adoption or the early adoption. So one of the 5 phases that you manage is the adoption. And it's really then at that point looking at breadth of usage, let's say, within our customer organization, as opposed to necessarily the depth of usage.
Yeah, that's critical. Is to say we never want just one person in the company using our product. I think the sign of a great product is this natural expansion within their company, and so that's one of the things we look at, is to say are all the team members using it? Do they understand it well enough? Have we trained them? Do they know the best practices? And so that's a key area that we look at, and that our customers can determine through our solution as well, to just see how broad the product is getting within a particular organization.
And then you have your growth phase, which then, once you get sort of the breadth, then you're focused around the depth of usage. How do you get visibility? How do you provide visibility to your customers into that depth of usage?
We provide in our product. We look at our product as a holistic approach to customer success. A lot of people say that the main data set that you should look at from a customer success perspective is product usage tracking. Analytics around how they're using your product. Are they logging in? Are they using certain features? And we believe that that's really important, but it's only one aspect. So that's certainly something that we provide in our solution, and our customers keep a very close eye on that to understand how they're engaged with their product. But again, a relationship is broader than just the product, and so we, they can leverage our platform to have very specific goals of how they want to align with the business and see growth within the account. And hopefully that comes through to meeting the customer's needs, to driving to their definition of value, and they can measure that and manage to that within client success.
So how do you measure that? So if it's not frequency of usage, how you what's the metric you can really key on to say, okay, yeah, they're getting the value out of this that we promised and that they aspired to?
Most people use adoption or plain retention as an indicator of whether your customer is getting value. Frankly, my measurement is, are they buying more? Do they like your product well enough to, and are they thriving on your product to where they want more? And so part of the key goal of the customer success manager is understanding different use cases of the customer and making sure they can accomplish those in our solution. And I think at the end of the day, the best indicator is, are they purchasing more? Are they happiness? Are they giving references? Is another great example. But those are, to me, are the best indicator of success.
Right. So the more could be either buying more seats for it, or they're buying additional applications for seats that they have, or both.
Yeah. Typically, they're known as cross-sell for buying other products that you sell, or upsell, which is buying more of the same product. We love to see both of those in there, and that's the mentality that we like to do is to take care of your customers enough and align to their objectives closely enough that they want more of your company and your product and your team.
So good. So who's sort of your ideal customer profile for client success?
Today, it's a B2B SaaS companies.
Software as a service company, right?
Yeah. Software as a service companies. And primarily small enterprise and below. So we have a lot of customers that are what we call emerging teams. They're customer success teams that are 3 to 5 CSMs, and they're maybe Series A or Series B stage companies that are starting to really ramp and scale these teams. And we have other companies on the other side. Company that is a public company with close to 100 CSMs using our product every day. Everywhere in between. Those are the kind of our sweet spot today.
Okay. And we're just sort of last question on this topic before we go to the last segment of the show is, where do you see this evolving? I mean, beyond the SaaS marketplace for you guys?
We see it much broader than SaaS in that any kind of we're in what some call a subscription economy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for everything. A lot of the products and services we buy today are subscription. We pay for that over and over again. The same principles that apply to B2B SaaS companies in handling a relationship for a software relationship could be applied at a B2C company. A local company here in Utah, Ancestry.com, for example, is a subscription business, thousands of subscribers. How could we help them understand and nurture and grow and retain their existing customer base? So I think there's a lot of opportunity driving retention and growth with any kind of subscription base, but also, frankly, just helping any kind of service provider take care of their existing customers.
Right.
There's a lot of different directions we can go from that perspective.
All right. Well, great. Well, let's move to the last segment of the show. I said some standard questions I give all my guests. I don't give the answers as I start to tell. So first one's a hypothetical scenario, and you're the star of the show. And the scenario is that you've just been hired as a new sales leader at a company whose sales have stalled out. They're stuck, and they really want to get going. So what two things would do your first week in the job that could have the biggest impact?
I'd get out and meet with customers. I think there's nothing better than to sit across the table from a customer and understanding their perspective, the challenges, the opportunities, and the perspective that they bring to the table. And so the first thing I would do is get on the road, and I would see as many customers as I could and really understand their perspective, because they will help take you the direction you need to go. I always say, and I would also, with that, I would not shy away. It's human nature for us to go to the happy customers, those customers that are singing us praises, that are easy to do business with. I would seek out the most frustrated customers, because in my opinion, that those are the ones that have the best insights. I would say embrace your most vocal customers, because they care enough to tell you what they think. And usually that's you need to hear what they have to say and follow it.
Right. Yeah, well, those are the ones that are going to make you better.
Exactly.
And that's really what you want as an organization. So have the challenging customers. All right, so some standard questions for you is so rapid fire. You can give me one-word answers, or you can elaborate if you wish. First one is, when you, Dave, are out selling, what's your most powerful sales attribute?
Genuine relationship.
Who's your sales role model?
That's a great question. I think there isn't one role model. I think I've been fortunate to be around some of the best sales leaders in the world, and each of them have unique approaches. And so I tend to look and find the best in each of them.
Okay. Anyone in particular sort of gave you an important lesson?
I think one of the greatest sales leaders out there is Chris Harrington, who was at Omniture with us, and he's now the president and runs all of sales and services for Domo, and a good friend and mentor. But Chris is somebody who knows the art of sales, but he knows also the importance of relationships and engaging in a deep way and developing partners. And so I think that Chris was a great example for me as a young professional of how to engage and sell from a relationship point of view.
Okay. So what's one book that every customer success manager should read?
Great question. Top of mind that's been on ours is Start with the Why. Mm-hmm. Usually that question is that book is focused for organizations, but I think it's also true for individuals in their professionals. And I think the why behind why you're engaged in this role and how you develop your own why and align with your customers' why is an important attribute to have.
Okay, so Simon Sinek's book. All right. All right. Tough question coming up is, what music's on your playlist right now?
I've got 5 kids, and my playlist somehow gets all of their music on it. So I've got everything on there, from One Direction to country music to Rihanna, a lot of diverse, to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. I've got a lot of different types of music on my playlist. It's pretty diverse.
All right, from boy bands to the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Good. All right. So last question is what's the first sales activity you do every day?
I focus on customers and prospects every single day. And what I usually look at is where can we, as the theme that I've always had is where can I help deepen a relationship? That's who I am at the core. And so I'll look to help there. This morning, for example, some of the first thing I did was reach out to a customer. And I've also had already, collaboration around a prospect that we're trying to win. And in that process, we are linking another customer and hopefully building a relationship with 2 other great professionals out in the space. So it's usually around, how can I help as a senior leader of the organization develop deeper relationships across our customers and our sales, our prospects.
Okay, great. Well, good. Well, Dave, I want to thank you for joining me. Tell people how they can find out more about client success.
Yeah, we'd love you to reach out to us. You can always go to www.clientsuccess.com and or send me an email directly at dave@clientsuccess.com, and we'd love to introduce you to our team and our business.
Sounds good. Well, again, thanks for joining us. And remember, friends, make it a part of your day, every day, to deliberately learn something new to help you accelerate your success. An easy way to do that is to make this podcast accelerate a part of your daily routine, whether it's on your morning commute in the gym, or maybe make it a part of your morning sales huddle. But then to make sure you don't miss any of my conversations with great business experts like my guest today, Dave Blake, who shared his expertise about how to accelerate the growth of your business. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is Andy Paul. Good selling, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you like what you heard and want to make sure you don't miss any upcoming episodes, please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher.com. For more information about today's guest, visit my website at andypaul.com.